So I did this post yesterday, and I did it really early when she had just posted it, like literally 34 minutes after she posted it. Well, it's a full day later, and actually yesterday she came back and she did an edit. I'm just going to do the whole post because it's short anyway. She says, finally leaving the monkey on my back after 30 years, and I'm very excited for my new life. I'm telling my husband I'm divorcing him in a few days. We have been married for 30 years. I'm 60 and do not want to spend any more of my remaining years with a miserable, verbally abusive, immature recluse. It was easy to forgive our incompatibility and his behavior when I was busy being a mom while working for 25 years as a nurse. Now that the kids are out on their own and I'm retired, I realize that there is zero reason to stay married to him. He sees me as a mother figure. I know, ick. And will be devastated and lost. I don't feel guilty at all. He had 30 years to heed the warning and make changes. Too late now. This bird gonna fly and I can't wait. Here's the edit. Because of your advice, I will be holding off on telling him until I'm ready to leave. I have already packed everything I plan to take and taken it to a small storage locker, and the pets will already be in a safe place on that day. The funny thing is, this woman, Lemon Girl 65, made it to my TikTok because this person, BBWB, says, wow, this post has already made it to TikTok, and gave my name. And the lady said, that's crazy. I'm a TikTok celebrity, LOL, not on my bingo card for sure. So this is her on my TikTok page. She says, I am the OP. I cannot express what the support means to me. We are sisters destroying the patriarchy together. And I'm like, hold up, what? This is you? You're Lemon Girl? And then the other people started chiming in. Proud of you, mama. Hopefully you have a good lawyer to protect your retirement. Gray divorce is complicated by 401ks. And she says it is, I'm guessing, in that her retirement is taken care of. Then Black Lilith says, we are all excited for you. Good luck. Then the lady says, thank you. And this person says, wish you the life you deserve. Nika says, good for you. Take your life back. Now I want to get to this comment. All right, so Grandmaster Gandalf says, if not for the age, I would feel the need to ask my mom if she posted this. Thank you for finally thinking about yourself. It really hurts to see someone hopelessly enabling a child that they care about disproportionately within the marriage. My dad never took care of himself and let issue after issue pile up. My mother, now a retired nurse, is essentially his caretaker despite dealing with her own health issues. Please live your own life and be happy. I really hope your kids understand and respect your decision. They should be proud. And then the OP says, this might sound horrible, but one of my motivators to leave is his poor health. He hasn't been diagnosed with anything as he hasn't been to the doctor in over 20 years, but he smokes, never exercises, only eats one frozen dinner a day, and has horrible dental health. I saw my future as his caretaker, not interested. I was his caretaker for 30 years. I will not be his private nurse, and I don't feel guilty about that anymore. After we divorce, I won't be his default decision maker. If he was hospitalized, his brother would be the next of kin and will have to assume that that role. Kujoho says, I am 61 and could have written this post. I'm retiring at the end of this school year and planning on leaving him and the country to travel the world while he sits on the recliner flipping through sporting events on the TV. I'm sick of doing everything on my own. I even have to buy my own Christmas and birthday presents. It's a toss-up if he reimburses me or not. I read somewhere this is actually a growing trend called gray divorce. Women our age are leaving their husbands to enjoy life on their own. I have taught for 37 years, been married for 33, and been a mother for 30 of those years. I am burnt out. I've been taking care of everyone else, but who's been taking care of me? Not him. It's time for me to time for me to live my best life. June can't get here fast enough. Good luck to you and enjoy your well-deserved freedom. Ladies of right now are just tired. That is what I'm seeing when I read these posts. And I'm glad that the ladies that are over the age of 50 are learning it, but I am glad for the younger ladies learning it quicker and walking away quicker versus giving decades of their time, energy, and resources. The OP says, thank you for your encouragement. Women have awoken from a deep slumber and we are pissed. I bought all my birthday, Mother's Day, and Christmas presents so that he didn't look bad in front of family and friends. He was very okay with that arrangement. What an embarrassment. I too am burnt out. I wish I could say that my husband was the only person in my life who was a taker. My adult children are as well. Easily take, but rarely give. They never ask me about my life or feelings, never check in with me, even when I'm ill. They treat me as an afterthought. From outside appearances, it would appear that there is, a real emotional connection. Sure, we have fun, laugh, and go on adventures together, but the lack of a deeper connection is painful. My sad little dream is that one day they will pat my hand or spontaneously hug me when I need it. Thankfully, through exhaustive self improvement work, I am closer to being able to maneuver towards zero expectations of all the people in my life. While I can go months without a human touch, I am finding that hugging and soothing myself is best. Self love is the best kind of love. Sorry for the long response. This thread has become a therapy session for me, and I'm leaning into it. Putting feelings into words is cathartic. That is so sad that you pour into so many people and that people don't pour back into you. And people have really got to take stock in and figure out who has really been there for them. And I think that this is what is going on, a lot of reflection these days, especially as many of these conversations are broached. I'll end it with this screenshot. Crazy Cat Lady Rookie says, and many men are completely blindsided by their wives or partners leaving them because, after all, what other labor-saving household appliance just ups and leaves like that? It's not like they had any warning whatsoever. And now she says, labor-saving household appliance, the shortened term is just wife appliance. The OP says, I sometimes find myself feeling some empathy for men and their current loneliness crisis. I then remind myself that they could be better partners or people with some effort. They are suffering due to their own apathy. Absolutely. This is of their own making, and so many of them need to completely be blindsided and then tell the others why, so that maybe the next generation has a chance. Crazy Cat Lady Rookie says, you're absolutely correct, of course. You didn't reach this decision overnight. You've endured decades of feeling unfulfilled, undervalued, and neglected. We are done being rehab centers for maladjusted men. And that is where we will end it. I love this story. It needed this update with all of these comments. We needed to see why, and we needed to see and understand that not everybody wants to be a nurse in a purse. Some women are choosing themselves over these people that are not taking care of themselves. Join the conversation. Let me know what you think about this update. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. I don't always find men to be reliable narrators or storytellers. I will just say that up front before we even get into this Am I the A-hole post. Just keep that in mind. But before I editorialize, let's read the post. He says, am I the a-hole still because I grew from the divorce and became the husband and father my ex had wanted me to be? He says, I was the a-hole. I know it. My ex and I, 40s, married in college in our early 20s. We went from living in the dorms together to being married and living on our own in another state due to my job. We enjoyed the honeymoon period with each other along with being young 20-somethings in an exciting new city. Not long after being married, she was pregnant and with our first child, a few months after our first anniversary. She was a stay-at-home mom. I picked up overtime to cover everything. She matured way faster than I to support the baby. I was still closer to being a college dorm student than I was to being a husband, father, or equal. We had constant fights about how I wasn't doing enough to help or supporting her physically or emotionally. I kept trying to tell her how I was doing enough, how I worked 80 hours last week, how I changed a diaper last week, how I cooked my own meal just for me so she wouldn't have to. She would explain her problems, and how I could help her, but I didn't hear her then. I just wanted to argue. I used weaponized incompetence before that term was coined. In my mind, I was working hard and she was just being unrealistic and couldn't see how much I did. In reality, there was far more work than I realized. My ex was drowning and asking for help, and all I would do was argue with her about how there was no way she was drowning. Things would improve every few months, partly because I would do a little more work, partly because she just internalized her frustrations and stopped initiating conversations about them. We had another child during this time, but this soon added even more stress and the fights grew even worse. Eventually, she said she couldn't handle it any longer and moved in with family a few hours away. I tried to win her back through love bombing again before I knew what that was and figured she would just come to her senses. And so I was extremely surprised when I got served divorce papers. I couldn't believe it. I never cheated on her. I didn't abuse her. I had no vices. We loved each other. How could she be divorcing me? Yet she did. And when we met with lawyers, I was taken off guard by how much resentment there was towards me. Where had all that come from? We agreed to every other weekend visitations. The first time I had to take care of my two toddlers on my own for 2 whole days was an eye opener. I had done it once or twice when married, but she had prepped everything, pre made the meals, picked out the clothes, cleaned the house, etc. I was still learning how to consistently do the laundry and wash the dishes every day and pick up after myself. I had gone from living with my parents to living in the dorms with roommates who constantly cleaned to living with my ex. I knew how to take care of a house, but never had to do it all on my own. Someone else always picked up the slack. And now I was fully responsible for that and two little lives for 48 hours. I remember being completely overwhelmed and hit by a huge wave of empathy and understanding of where she had been over the past few years and what I had done to her. I apologized to her, but that only made her angrier. So I grew up. I vowed to make the most out of each weekend with my children. I learned how to cook. I actually liked cooking. I learned how to braid hair. I bought tons of unnecessary toddler supplies and packed them all in a stroller just in case my kids needed something on a walk. On my own time, I picked up new hobbies and went to the gym. I read the nonfiction, how to relationship books that my ex had been begging me to read. Overall, I worked on myself and tried to become a super dad to my kids. A couple of years after the divorce, I started dating again. Being a single dad in my late 20s was a turnoff to a lot of women, and I was rejected often. But I found myself being matched with other single moms and really connecting with them. I eventually met my now wife, a single mom whose ex had abandoned her for someone else and wanted nothing to do with their children. And to her, I was the perfect catch, a loving dad who worked hard, did the household chores, and was devoted to her. I learned from my mistakes in my first marriage and took all the criticisms my ex made about me to heart and improved from them. I became the husband my ex tried to make me into. I still slip up and still have a lot to learn, but I do that with the support of my wife. I would still see my ex every other weekend, and the relationship improved somewhat, but there was still an undertone of resentment in each interaction. She went back to school, got a job, and raised our kids as a single mom. I tried to get more visitation as they got older, but she fought back, and due to them living too far for daily visits, I only got longer summers with them. I have no idea about her dating life. I never asked the kids about her, but she is unmarried. I know very little about her life, but I mean, she could be very happy and enjoying everything. But within our few interactions, very little of that shows. Now, our youngest is a senior and going to graduate, and I've been talking to my ex more to prepare for it. It's mostly cordial, but occasionally hints of anger and passive aggressive comments come out. I have thanked her for being a wonderful mother to our children and raising them, and again apologize for never being there or taking her seriously all those years ago. I still feel like the a hole, though, sometimes because of how she understandably treats me. and other times just from my own guilt of how I treated her when we were married. She's about to have an empty nest after devoting her life to children when I failed her. And I am living the suburban family life we had planned for, but with someone other than her. Am I still the a-hole for learning from my divorce and becoming the husband I should have been with my ex? It really goes to show how when women are expressing needs for something, I need this. I need you to participate here. I need you to pick up the slack there. I'm drowning. I'm tired. I'm stressed. I need some me time. I need to get away. I'm overwhelmed. When women say these things, these husbands are not listening, and it literally takes them like I don't know what it takes, but it takes them being blindsided by divorce. He literally says that she was asking for help. She was telling him all these things, and he was still blindsided by the divorce. Literally, like what women can say the things, they can write out a list, they can bring in other people to say the things. What does it really take for these most logical, big brained leaders to take what women are saying seriously? Being a starter wife sucks. And honestly, one of the things that I took out of this is maybe stop telling them so much of what they did wrong, because then they can take all of that, they can improve for the next person. Make them learn these things on their own. I don't know. I don't know what to say to that, but like he literally says, I did all of the things that my ex-wife wanted me to do, and now I am the best husband for this next woman. That is cool for the next woman. And I'm not even going to respond on, are you the a hole for growing? No, you're not the a hole for growing. But to that ex wife that was the starter wife, you will probably forever be the a hole. This was a long story time, so I'm not going to really delve into the comments too much. But like this person, Three Wheeler of Doom, says, not the a hole for growing and learning and apologizing. However, your ex probably doesn't see it the way you do. You see it as you getting a rude shock or the divorce and realizing just how much you let your ex down and that you needed to become an adult and be able to parent your kids. And to your credit, you seem to have done exactly that, which is admirable. Your ex might see it that you refused to listen to her, refused to deal with any of the issues that she was struggling with, and made her life a lot harder than it should have been. Now she sees you with with your wife, and the perfect life that she should have had with you, but you couldn't or wouldn't give that to her. So she might be feeling that she wasn't good enough, that you didn't love her enough to do all that you do for your wife now with her. That sort of resentment can be lifelong, because every time she sees you, she asks herself, why wasn't I good enough to be treated that way, the way he treats his wife? Which means you will always be the a hole for her. And that's what I wanted to get to. You guys go ahead and weigh in and let me know what you think about this story. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. So this post comes down to, do you want to know or do you not want to know? She says, I went through his texts and now I know. This was posted in the True Off My Chest subreddit. It says, I'm not insecure. I don't care for going through your partner's phone. But last week, when I was casually doing my makeup in the bathroom, you left your phone right next to me. I tapped on the phone to see what time it was getting ready for work, when I see some girl was texting you. Normally, I wouldn't care, but the text was asking if you were going tomorrow. So I opened the text and noticed immediately she was answering a text, but it wasn't there. So I went to see if he deleted any texts. Lo and behold, he deleted a text asking her to meet up at the dog park. That's what pissed me off the most. That's my dog. I'm holding in all this anger and frustration, then go to work. Fast forward, the next day he's drunk, sleeping it off, and I decided to go through his text messages. He's the kind of person who deletes texts also immediately after pressing send. So this was my only chance to see if they continued the conversation. They did. I took photos of the whole thing and just haven't felt the same since. So my question is, you know the information, what are you going to do with it now? That's one of the things that people have to get to the point of. Is it enough to leave? Once you find out, you can't control what these people are going to do. You can only control your behavior. So after you learn of any bad news, if you catch somebody in a lie, if you find out that somebody is cheating, you know, you know. So what are you going to do with it? You're going to accept it or you're going to leave. So what do you do next? Feral Cat Wrangler says, leave him. If he's not already cheating, he's planning on it. You teach people how to treat you, show him that he can't treat you like that. Cheating is not just an accident. It's not just a slip up. You have to meet somebody. You have to get to know them when you shouldn't be because you're married. You have to set up a time and a place. You have to continually get to know them. Then you have to set up a time and place to actually do the do. Even if you didn't get to the point of doing the actual do, all of the other lies that get up to the point are still lapses in judgment, is still breaking that integrity, is still breaking vows. So even if you haven't crossed the line exactly, the peen hasn't entered the vajayjay just yet, it doesn't matter because there's been lies up to that point and you're an untrustworthy person. And that should even still be enough to walk away from that marriage, in my opinion. A liar doesn't deserve any good things out of a relationship with you. And some of these people have too much time and energy simply because they have a spouse at home. They have a spouse at home that is probably doing the majority of the housework and all of those types of things. Katie Pooh says, top comment, nothing more needs to be said or understood. That dude fumbled. Now, Happy Emergency says, LOL for meeting someone at the park. She even said he's the type to always delete his messages anyway, so that's not even fishy behavior for him. There's nothing wrong, nothing weird here unless you're the paranoid type, which it seems she is since she decided to dig through his phone twice. So, right here, we have a man attempting to cover for another man. That's what this is, a period, point blank. This is a lying situation, and you got another man looking to soften the blow. This person, Utz Chip says, there has to be more. OP says at the end she looked at the deleted conversation and she doesn't feel the same sense. It's not just a walk in the park. Then Happy Emergency says, yeah, it's weird she didn't include what else there was. And then Wicked Cool username says, whatever it was worth getting photo documentation of. Something tells me that the whole thing wasn't about picking a time to go to the dog park. Um, yeah, and then this person at the bottom says, make friends with the lady. Nah, that's a bad idea. That's a waste of energy. She just needs to decide what she wants to do with her husband. Okay, introduction says, okay, every time I see something like this, I always encourage the person being cheated on to quietly get their ducks in a row. Don't tell him just yet that you know. Find a new place, get yourself a move-in date, or find someone else to live with, friend or family. When he's out to work, take your dog so that MF has no one to take to meet her with and get out of there. Ask your close friends to help you, then block and ghost. He knows what he did. He's a dishonest dweeb, and those are the types who have the most audacity. Using your dog to meet other women, how disgusting he is, yikes. Don't forgive him or try to work through this or get understanding. You know what you saw and how it made you feel. I'm sorry this happened to you. Exactly. It's pretty simple. If you feel some type of way, then what are you going to do about it is basically the next question. Don't try to get some understanding or anything like that because that's just giving them more wiggle room to make you feel better with the lie. Absolutely not. Keep it moving. He's no longer trustworthy. All right, y'all. You let me know what you think, though.